Hello, I'm James Clark, the Executive Chef here at the Carolina Inn in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. We're coming to you today from our beautiful Chancellor's Ballroom here at the Carolina Inn. And it's a great room, it's a great place to have a wedding or a reception or a rehearsal or any kind of party that you'd like to have here. So I thought it would be a perfect backdrop for our dish that we're going to do today, which is a seared scallop with pickled radishes, some orange supremes, an arugula pesto that's made with pecans. It's really good. It's going to be finished with just a little bit of a North Carolina trout caviar, which I'll get into in a little bit later. But first off, what we want to do to start the dish, this is a dish that's on our winter menu at Carolina Crossroads. And we're going to first start by getting the radishes pickled. And you can do this heating the liquid or not heating the liquid. This morning we're not going to heat the liquid. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice the radishes nice and thin so that they can pickle. All right, so I got one. And depending on how many people you have coming, depends on how many radishes. And maybe you want to pickle a few radishes to use in other things like a salad or with any other fish dish that you might have. So now I've got these sliced. I'm going to put them right back in the bowl. Make the pickling liquid, which is very simple. I've got some red wine vinegar, and I'm going to put about equal parts sugar and salt. And I'm just going to simply let that dissolve in that liquid. And you can speed this up by heating it as well. But I'm going to let that dissolve a little bit. And then I'm going to add my radishes in and give them just a really quick toss in that and pickle. And then best thing to do is to let these go right into the walk-in or into your cooler at home and let them sit overnight or eat them in a couple hours. Either one is fine, but you can let them sit for quite a long time so that you've also always got some right on hand. So while those are pickling, while they're getting good, what we're going to do is we're going to start on the arugula pesto. And I've got some cleaned arugula here. It's got some stems on it too, but that's okay. But I've got, about a quarter pound of arugula. And I've got some hot boiling water, and I'm going to add some salt to it. What the salt does to the boiling water and to green vegetables, which is important, is that it locks in that color of that beautiful green. This is only going to take a second, so it's important that you have your ice bath ready to stop the arugula from cooking too long. So I'm going to toss those in there. Give them a quick stir. And as soon as they're all wilted, I'm going to immediately pull them out and put them right into that ice water so that they can shock and not cook anymore. Now I got these in the ice water and they're cooling down. You see how that green color really stays. I'm just going to pull it out. What I want to do is I really want to drain as much of that water off as I can. Let them sit. Give them a little bit of pressure so that it can get some of that water out of there. And I'm going to let that sit for a minute. While that's draining and cooling down, I'm going to supreme the orange. And this, along with the radishes, along with the pesto, this can be done also a day ahead of time. And this is simple. I'm going to take the ends off the oranges like this. And then I'm simply just going to take the skin and the pith right off, because that is where the bitterness lies in the orange. So once that's removed, I'm just going to go into each segment and slice them out with you can do this with this knife that's a little big, but you can do this with a paring knife, which is a little bit easier. Take that one out. I'm going to take that one out as well. All right. Okay, so we've got our radishes done. We've got our orange segments done and ready to go. So it's time to make our pesto. If you have a blender at home of Vitamix like we have here at work, which is great and we're happy to have, it makes this easier. But you can also do this by hand. It just takes a little bit more chopping. But what I like to do is before I put my arugula into the blender and mix it, I like to give it a little bit of a cut so that everything that I'm putting into the blender already starts in the same consistency, because I have my shallots minced and I have my garlic minced. I don't want to run the blender too long because it'll create a lot of heat, and that way it'll turn the arugula to that sort of army green brown, which is not appealing. So I'm going to start it cut already. I'm going to put in just a little bit of garlic, just the clove of one garlic, and then I'm going to put in one minced shallot, like that. And I'm going to put some pecans in there. They've been toasted. You could use any nut you'd like. You could use a little cashews or some, pignolies, which is traditional pine nuts, but since we're in the South and pecans are good, and I like pecans, we're going to put pecans in there. All right. I'm going to put just a touch of honey in here. This is a local honey from Chatham County, but I don't want it to be too sweet, but I want it to have a little anticipation. Okay, here it comes. So we're going to put just a little bit of honey in there, like that. And then we're going to put some acid in there as well. And acid and green are not a good mix. So what I like to do is to get that sort of acid flavor a little bit is I like to take and do the zest of a lemon. Could be a lime too if you like, but I just take a little bit of that zest on the outside, not to use that pith, because remember that pith is, on any citrus is, it's bitter. So I just take just a few little scrapes on the microplane right in there to add some of that acid flavor. All right. A little extra virgin olive oil right in there. And then I'm going to season this with some salt and pepper, a little kosher salt, and a little bit of pepper, and then we're going to puree it. It's loud. When you're at the market, it's good to buy scallops that are, of course, large, are really nice, but you want to buy scallops that are dry pack, which is important. Because if there's a lot of water around them, it's harder to get that really beautiful sear on the outside of the scallops, which is so appealing and it tastes great and it has a wonderful texture to it as well. And if there's water all over the scallops, that's not going to happen. You're going to put them in the pan and they're going to immediately start boiling, and that's not good. It doesn't make an attractive appearance to them. It's important that you start, of course, with a hot pan, and I prefer to do these into an iron skillet. And I'm just going to put them right down in the pan, like this. I'm going to work that oil around just a little bit. Like so. And I'm going to season the other side of the scallops just a little bit, so that they're evenly seasoned. So when your scallops are searing, you'll start to notice around the edges that they begin to turn brown. And that's what you're looking for. So when those edges are turning brown, that's when you want to flip them over, when you can see the edges turning brown. And you do not want to overcook your scallops. You just want to sear them on both sides and serve them about medium. Now that I've flipped these over, I'm going to cut the heat down just a little bit, so that they don't burn on the other side, and let them finish cooking. So I've got our pesto right in here, which looks great. A little bit chunky and a little bit smooth. I'm going to take and I'm going to put just a little bit of this right on the plate, and I'm going to make it a little fancy like that, this fancy little swoosh. Then I'm going to take our scallops, so. I'm going to leave one hole like that. I'm going to take the other and I'm going to slice it
right in half. You can see that sort of translucent color right there, which is perfectly cooked. And I'm going to lay it just like that. All right. We've got our orange segments, which is also going to add just a little bit of acid to our plate as well. All right. Then our pickled radishes, just going to give us a little bit of spice to this. Just going to put a few of those right on there like that. Then I'm going to finish this dish with a little bit of North Carolina caviar. And I said I would talk about the caviar a little bit. From Sunburst Trout Farms, which is in Canton, North Carolina. They grow these amazing trout. They're beautiful. We serve them on the restaurant. And then they extract the caviar from there as well. And it's got a great sort of salty, rich trout flavor to them. It's really, really wonderful stuff. They make some that's infused with orange. They make some that's smoked, which is fabulous, and I really love it. So I'm just going to put just a little bit on that one that I cut right there in the middle, just like that. And then we're all finished. Our seared scallops with a arugula pesto, some orange supremes, a little North Carolina trout caviar, which is wonderful for the new year, and finished with some pickled radishes. This is one of our new dishes that's on our winter menu at Carolina Crossroads. Again, my name is James Clark, the executive chef here, and I hope you enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you in the restaurant.